Giantlord Sightless.
Despite the huge amount of players in the Stick War series, most players would probably agree that the game is fairly balanced. However, there is one unit that almost everybody seems to agree is simply overpowered, or at the very least is way too strong to be healthy for the game. Giantlord Sightless. A giant unit controlled by Marukai, the Kai Rider variant, wielding an entire tree as a weapon and having the same stature as a giant. Even after multiple nerfs to its damage, hitbox, and AoE damage, some say that the unit is just too damaging to the meta to be considered balanced. But why is this unit so hated? And more importantly, why was it even created in the first place?
To track the history of Giantlord Sightless, we have to go back to the remaster of Stick War 1, Stick War Legacy. In this version of the game, a lot of the deeper lore is not directly explained and instead comes from unit design and small hints rather than full story explanations. Giantlord Sightless, together with his rider Deadkai, combine to form the Kai Rider. The unit's entry is fairly simple and doesn't give much background. In gameplay, he acts like a powerful special unit or summon, similar to other late game abilities. There is no story mode or explanation for where he comes from, or how he became a part of the Chaos Empire's forces. Giantlord Sightless is blind, which clearly is shown by the stone slab covering his eyes. This is a key part of his identity and matches his name. He also has a muzzle over his mouth, which makes him look controlled or restrained. This suggests that he is not fully acting out of his own will and that Deadkai is the one controlling or guiding him. Because of this, their relationship feels less like teamwork and more like domination. Sightless provides raw strength and size, while Deadkai provides direction and control. Together, they form the Kai Rider, a single unit that is much stronger than either part alone. Even though he is blind, Giantlord Sightless is described as the alpha of the giants. This does not necessarily mean that he is the biggest or the strongest, but that he holds a leadership position among them. It suggests that he earned respect through experience, survival, or stepping forward in dangerous situations where the other giants would not. Despite his blindness, he is extremely dangerous in combat. His strength and instincts make him effective even without sight, and when paired with the Deadkai, he becomes much more precise and mobile. The rider helps him guide his movements, making the Kai Rider fast and difficult to deal with. Because of this, the Kai Rider would still be a major threat to powerful generals like Griffin the Great, who is the leader of No Man's Land, or other elite fighters, especially in open battles, where movement and positioning matter. After Marukai takes control of the Chaos Empire, Giantlord Sightless is implied to be taken and used as a mount by Marukai. This fits the Chaos Empire's pattern of taking powerful beings and turning them into tools of war, rather than independent characters or beasts, similar to how Medusa turned the No Man's Land giants into an army. Upon the finishing of the Stick War Legacy segment, we move on to the release of Giantlord Sightless in Stick War Saga. Immediately after the release of Giantlord Sightless, players could tell that something was wrong. The unit was not just strong, it completely changed the balance of battles. In a game where most units have clear strengths and weaknesses, Giantlord Sightless felt like it had almost none. Its raw stats were already completely ridiculous. With a raw hit power of 75 before it was nerfed, every swing from the giant could erase groups of units instantly. Regular Sword Wrath units would disappear in one attack, and even stronger troops like Spiritans could barely survive for more than 5 hits. Since giants attack from multiple enemies at once, the damage stacked up very quickly. Entire front lines could collapse in only a few seconds if the player was not prepared. The most frustrating part about it was how little effort it took to get Giantlord Sightless. Normally, stronger units in-game come with major trade-offs. They might cost much more gold, take longer to train, or use up a huge amount of population space. Giantlord Sightless barely had any of these negatives. Compared to a normal giant, Giantlord Sightless had better health, better abilities, and more damage, and overall better pressure in battle. Yet the price difference was surprisingly small, only costing 300 more gems. It still remained affordable enough to rush early or mid-game, meaning that players could get access to overwhelming amount of power without sacrificing much of their army economy. That was where the real balance problem started to show. Giantlord Sightless was not only powerful by itself, it was efficient. In strategy games, efficiency is usually what creates overpowered units.
A unit can be strong, but if it costs too much or has to be made too late in the game, players can still work around it. Giantlord Sightless broke that balance by giving players massive value for almost no cost. Battles against it almost felt hopeless no matter what strategy you try to counter it. If you built a defensive wall of Spiritans, the Giantlord could simply charge right through them and destroy the formation. Spiritans are actually supposed to be frontliners, but the Giant's massive attacks allowed it to overpower them far too easily. Even when the Spiritans survived the first few hits, the Giant's Mega Quake attacks would easily weaken the back of the army behind them. Trying faster units didn't help that much. Units like Rip Rider could actually sometimes surround slower units and move around before they got hit. The problem is, people who use Giantlord Sightless could just support the Giant with Archidons. Since Archidons can attack almost any unit from a safe distance, they remove one of the few weaknesses that the Giant might have had, which is speed when turning around. This created a very unhealthy gameplay loop. Instead of encouraging different strategies, Giantlord Sightless pushed players towards one dominant playstyle. Matches became less about skillful planning and more about whether somebody had the Giant first in a game. A lot of players in the community quickly started calling the unit unfair. Some even considered it pay to win, since units in Stick War Legacy can be paid and they can only be used if they're in rotation if you don't pay for them. Giantlord Sightless felt like a complete upgrade rather than a slight variation of the original Giant. The developers clearly noticed the complaints because balance changes started arriving not long afterwards. Several major nerfs were introduced to tone the unit down. Its main attack damage was reduced to 75 to 55, which significantly lowered how quickly it could wipe out armies. The Alpha Quake ability was also significantly weakened by 50%, dropping from 30 damage to 15 damage. Even the charge ability had its damage reduced from 20 to 15. These nerfs actually helped more than many players expected. Giantlord Sightless stopped feeling completely unstoppable, and many decks that could counter it started arising, such as Archidons and Eclipsers decks. Before the changes, simply spawning in the unit could almost guarantee victory if the player knew the basics of the game. After the nerfs, opponents at least had a fighting chance if they used strong positioning and proper combat combinations. But even after all of those changes, one major issue still remained untouched: the population cap. This is arguably the strangest part of the entire unit. Giantlord Sightless is significantly stronger than a normal giant in almost every important category, yet it somehow takes up less population space. In a game where population is one of the biggest balancing mechanics, limiting how many units you can use at a time, this makes very little sense. Population limits are supposed to prevent players from stacking too much power into one army. Stronger units usually consume more space because they provide more value. Giantlord Sightless not only breaks this rule completely, but it is stronger than a regular giant, and players can fit more support units around it because it uses less population. That means that Giantlord Sightless army is not individually stronger, the entire composition around it becomes stronger too. Even after the nerfs, this allows the unit to dominate many matches, and it makes it superior to basically every other general pound for pound. I mean, really think about it. There's not a single general in Stick War Saga which could take Giantlord Sightless in a 1v1. A player using Giantlord Sightless can maintain strong frontline pressure while also having enough room for Archidons, Magikill, and other support units. That flexibility makes the unit incredibly difficult to punish, and extremely difficult to counter consistently. At this point, Giantlord Sightless is no longer the completely unstoppable monster that it once was. The nerfs definitely improved the game's balance. However, many players still believe that the unit remains too efficient for what it provides. And regardless of what future changes are made to the unit, it is a unit that will forever live in infamy as one of the worst units of all time. Not because it was terrible, but because it was too good. That's the end of the video. Comment down below if you want any future video ideas, and like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. I'll see you in the next one.